Term DeFi has become such a buzzword lately that any sort of dApp that launches on-chain slams the label DeFi on top. Could be anything really, like a gamified dApp, a Ponzi scheme, an inflationary farm. So whatever it is, they say this is a DeFi protocol. And that is very far away from the actual truth and from the actual, component of a DeFi protocol. Sorry to interrupt you there. Just want to say that Numerical will launch at any moment now. The soft launch is approaching. If you see a YouTube video about the protocol, then this means that the dApp has launched, all right? So it will do so in the coming days. Just keep an eye on Telegram as well as Twitter. Have USDC on the base chain if you want to invest. Take your time, no rush, study it well, and then make your decision. If you want to move funds to the base chain, use the third-party bridge that we have linked on the main website. Now this one right here is a very basic example of an inflationary farm that is approximately 3 years old in terms of meta. Because that used to be the meta back then. Launch an inflationary farm, have a made up token, let people farm it with super high APR, dump them on the market, and then done. And meanwhile, the team can make some fees off revenues because they're using the FalxDex, and then, it closes its doors, everything collapses, onto the next one. Here's how you can spot something like this. And my basic assumption is that because Solana DeFi is still new, like I mentioned in my previous video, this is potentially why this sort of meta can still work on a blockchain like Solana and doesn't work whatsoever on any EVM chain. First thing, they launch a pre-sale and then they have the token being traded for like a month or more before launching anything, any pool, any liquidity, or any farm. And to add to my point, this has launched somewhere on the 18th of May, and that's more than a month now. And if you go on their dApp, other than staking, which actually has, close to peanuts in terms of USDT, USDC, and of course rewards, the native asset, because like I said, it's an inflationary farm. There is a lot of this asset, so FALX, staked because potentially it's the team, potentially is the pre-sale guys. So just earning those rewards and then dumping them on the market. And like I said, farms, non-existent. So if you click on farms, you will see coming soon, pools coming soon, liquidity coming soon. So there's no liquidity, aka you cannot even swap on this DEX. And other than that, there's no real revenue that could potentially be generated because there's nothing, right? So, and who would swap on this with close to zero liquidity versus having something like Orca, Radium, or Jupiter where there's so much deep liquidity there? So it makes no sense. So real revenue is out of the equation for this inflationary dependent DEX. But that's one. Two, whenever they release those products, they're gonna add harvesting fees, staking fees, unstaking fees. So all the basic stuff that you would expect from an inflationary dependent farm. And that's labeled right here. So that's from 1 to 1.5% based on your action taken in any of these, all right? And additional buzzwords, so NFT collection, bridge, Telegram bot, whatever. So all of these things are just components of, like I said, an inflationary token that is slammed behind a so-called DEX. Now, you can add the max supply, which they did, by the way. So that's just another way of saying, wait, we have a max supply, so eventually the price should go up. Doesn't matter. If nobody wants to buy your token, the price will go to zero. And going back to the so-called white paper, it's stated here, like the long-term value due to the total supply, then it's likely to increase. I mean, they're taking a page of the notebook from a max supply type of perspective where scarcity is, equals more demand, which isn't the case, of course. It works for Bitcoin, but that's just it. Everything else has no, tie to this equation whatsoever. The purpose of this video at the end of the day, and by the way, I'm not saying this is a Ponzi per se, but we know the model, so it's more of these tokens being printed with a limited liquidity pool, so eventually it will collapse. So the point is just to put into perspective the difference between real DeFi and fake DeFi. And make no mistake, this is 100% fake DeFi. And if you are somebody who wants to get involved and you're potentially new and you're not sure what's going on, hope this will help in this case, all right? So like I said, if you want DeFi protocol inclusion, this is not the place for you, and in my opinion, not the place for anyone. Speculating on this asset could be, but at this point in time, after a month and a half, with emissions happening on a daily basis because of staking and more to come, I wouldn't recommend it. We do have a Telegram group, link will be below. And with that, see you in the next one. Have a good one.